Well, you know it's going to be a good day when you get the Allman Brothers before 8 o'clock. On a Monday morning, Bernie and Sid put this time aside each and every week. This guy's a tremendous guest. Editor, National Review. You see him on television with our buddy Chuck Todd quite a bit on Meet the Press. And he is the very interesting and smart and fun Rich Lowry. His new column is out. Actually, the Salt Lake Tribune is where I saw it. Rich Lowry, Rachel Maddow's Deep Delusion.
In New York, you get it.
In the Post.
NewYorkPost.com.
That's right. Here he is, our good buddy Rich Lowry. Good morning, Rich. How are you, pal?
Hey, guys. I'm fantastic.
Of course you are.
Yes.
You went to Virginia.
Come on.
And your Virginia Cavaliers have the first game on Saturday against Auburn for the right to take on the winner of Texas Tech, Michigan State for the national championship. I know it's been 35 years for you guys since a Final Four appearance, so you got to be stoked.
Yeah, probably the best college basketball game I've ever seen on Saturday night. Just that the shot to tie it in regulation, and not just the shot, the retrieval of the ball in backcourt, and the brilliant pass by this guard, Kihei Clark. It may, I'm probably going to regret saying this, but I think that play just may have gotten them over the hump. And this may be their year.
Now, look magical. When Clark makes that pass and Giatite makes that basket, it was very reminiscent, you could appreciate this, Rich, of Derek Whittenberg and Lorenzo Charles. NC State getting that miraculous win over Houston. It was so improbable. Down by 3, Purdue's coach Matt Painter decides to foul. That was the right move. A million things had to happen for Virginia to win the game in which they did, and it happened.
Yeah, so he's at the line. With 6 seconds left or whatever, and makes the first shot, misses the second, and just the right way. It bounces pretty far out. They get the rebound, but then you're thinking, oh, well, the rebound is going, all the way to the other end. Forget about it. And Clark, tracks it down, and just to have this kid is so mature. Just to have the foresight to make and the vision, to make the pass and make it perfectly, so the shot doesn't take. There's not a second wasted on the shot. Was really incredible.
But not to bring you down, of course. Your Yankees had a little rough weekend with the hapless Orioles, but we'll get to that another time, Rich Lowry. It's early in the season.
What happened to Gonzaga?
Well, what happened to Gonzaga was the best defensive team in the country all season long has been Texas Tech. The best team in the Big 12 all season long has been Texas Tech. They beat Michigan by nearly 20. So, Texas Tech deserves to be exactly where they are, and they may be the most complete team of the 4 teams remaining.
So I shouldn't take Texas Tech lightly.
No, you shouldn't.
Not at all.
No.
But speaking of losers, you did write this column about Rachel Maddow's Deep Delusion, as the Salt Lake Tribune is entitling it. And it was fairly, I wouldn't say vicious, but very, very revealing, Rich Lowry.
Yeah, so she's been the main promoter of this conspiracy theory that there's this deep act of treachery with the Russians. And it wasn't that she was just, reporting facts. She was putting all the dots together in a gleeful way, and constantly leading her viewers to believe that this whole thing was unraveling, and the worst scandal in American history is going to explode in front of our faces, and Trump was going to get frog marched from the White House. And she's a really smart person. She's a really talented broadcaster, so I think it's really telling. This wasn't a fringe. This is the most significant media figure on the left, and it all blew up, but you can't admit it. You can still say there are things Trump did that he shouldn't have done. We need to see the full report. There are going to be details, damning details in the report, inevitably the full report, but there wasn't any conspiracy. And she still can't admit it. She's still making Watergate analogies, still just asking questions. So it's really she's in the grip of a conspiracy theory.
We just had this basketball conversation. I know you know this because your op-ed pieces end up locally here in the New York Post, but they actually had a bracket for the most hateful TV people about this Trump thing. And Maddow won. She beat Stephen Colbert as the most hateful, deranged, delusional broadcaster.
Yeah, I don't think it's close.
Yeah, but Bernie and I just had a little bit of a back and forth because Trump is out there yelling and screaming last week. He's been exonerated, and he hasn't. He has not. There's no collusion. There's no obstruction. But you just said it. You just said there will still be some damning stuff in this report that will not be so great for Donald Trump. Is that not true?
Yeah, that's true. And these reports, they achieve their power through the narrative and through the details. So a 400-page report, there's going to be a lot of narrative and a lot of details, and some of it, is going to make us cringe, even those of us who wish them well and are hoping for the best. But the bottom line is going to be the thing that was supposed to be the torpedo to the bow and the greatest act of treachery in American history. That's not going to be there. The conspiracy with Russia is not going to be there. The
exoneration is total and complete when it comes to conspiracy and collusion. And now, look, the Democrats, they waited 2 years for this Mueller report. Now the Democrats are demanding it tomorrow. Tomorrow. They can't wait like 10 more days as Barr just does the right thing and, deletes some classified material, grand jury stuff. I mean, and by the way, let me just go back to Rachel Maddow. When she makes these claims, I mean, who could blame her when you have Obama's ex-CIA director on her network and the Intel chairman, Adam Schiff, claiming with certitude, cocksure certitude, that, hey, this guy colluded with Russia. We know it. We have evidence. So you can almost not even blame her for making those statements that she made.
Yeah, that's true. And Brennan, obviously, an extremely irresponsible player. And just it's disturbing that someone like that had some of the most sensitive powers in the United States government. And that's been very revealing in this whole episode. Is you have this vision, at least I did, of top folks at the CIA and the FBI just being above mere mortals, right? Just incredible people with incredible judgment, and they turn out to be a bunch of amateurish hacks. At least these guys were. And the thing I think is really blameworthy with Maddow and the rest of them, if you're following the investigation obsessively, as they were, you could see as we went along, we're getting further from collusion, not closer. Because everyone who's supposed to be the colluders, none of them were charged with espionage, none of them were charged with conspiracy, and then finally we got to Roger Stone, sort of the last hope. He didn't know anything that was going on. He was desperately, using a talk radio show host to try to get to WikiLeaks. This other guy, Corsi, to try to get to WikiLeaks because they weren't on the inside. So there was no conspiracy.
Rich Lowry, National Review. But again, I think blaming Maddow is a bit silly in that, look, she hates Trump. She doesn't need the motivation. She doesn't need the playbook. She hates him. But there is a playbook at MSNBC, whether it was Chris Matthews, he did the same thing. Chris Hayes, equally as hateful as Rachel Maddow. And the most hateful of all is Nicole Wallace in the afternoons. So you have to understand, this, but there's a playbook. And the playbook is given to these people by Jeff Zucker at CNN and Phil Griffin at MSNBC. Those are the bosses. That's what they expect from their players. It would be like blaming Brady for ruining the game plan when Belichick drew up the game plan. I just think these folks, and they are hateful, are following the boss's orders.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to that. But, if Rachel Maddow said, you know what, Phil, I'm not doing that, the game plan would change.
If she said that, he would say, well, you may as well call Fox News tomorrow.
And it was a business model, and just Chris Hayes. I know Chris Hayes a little bit. I respect him. He's a policy wonk. This goes to your point. There's no way that this is what Chris Hayes wants to do. He'd rather talk about the Green New Deal or Medicare for all. It's just that they knew this rated. And wow, it really rated for Maddow, who for a period of time there was the number one show on cable. So I take your point. It's hard to disentangle where they were sincere and where they're just playing to the ratings. But I think she really believed it.
And they're bleeding viewers, as you point out. Rich Lowry, listen, 10 seconds to go. Joe Biden, does he throw his hat in the ring, or does he say, I don't need this?
I think it depends. Only he knows. We know there's more of this kind of shoulder rubbing, hair smelling kind of thing, which is weird but survivable. But if he was a groper, like a legitimate, grabbing, where he shouldn't groper, he shouldn't get in, and I think he won't get in.
I agree. Rich Lowry on the Bernie and Sid show. You got to read his latest column. It's all over the place. New York Post. Anyways, the editor of the National Review. It's all about Rachel Maddow. Rich Lowry, you're great. We love you. Thank you for appearing on the Bernie and Sid show.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
I hope next week when you come back, next Monday night, your team is still alive.
Yeah.
That could be exciting.
Wahoo-wah.
All right. Good luck. Great job. Rich Lowry, National Review. We'll take a short break. More of us right after this.